Hello, and welcome to the Simuldub Saints, your guide to seasonal anime dubs. I'm your host, LaserKid, and with me as always is my trusty co-host.
Hello, I am Archangel, lover of cat girls.
You've been listening to our theme song, Wherever I Go, from part of the podcast, Ampren. Please check out their awesome music, link in the description.
And this episode has been sponsored by Big Cheese Dentistry. Okay. More about them at the end, I guess.
That's a name.
I don't know, man. I mean, we're kind of down market, so we take what we can get.
I mean, yeah, But, yeah. I guess let's just go right into the news. We've only really got one piece of news, and then we'll go into our topic.
One glorious, glorious piece of news.
Yes, as soon as I saw this, I knew you, of all people, would be happy. So, you know what? Why don't I let you give the news?
So, they've officially confirmed that Season 4 of the Laid Back Camp anime is in production. Don't know if we have an ETA on that. I didn't see one skimming the article. But here's hoping for a simuldub, but I'm not holding my breath. But we will almost certainly get a dub. And while we're at it, Crunchyroll, why don't you warm up the voice cast by finally dubbing the movie, goddammit. Unless there's some sort of legal thing, in which case, of course, I forgive you, because that is a thing.
There could always be a situation like the Black Clover movie where Netflix got it, so who knows?
That's exactly. I mean, the movie is subbed up on Crunchyroll.
Oh, it's well then.
Yeah, I
dub
have
your
no
shit,
idea.
Crunchyroll.
Yeah, is there ever a situation where you would have the rights to distribute subbed, but the dub has already gone to somebody else for some stupid reason? I can see that being a thing, knowing how weird this could get.
Yes. That shouldn't be the case in something like this.
So yeah, why don't you, just to warm up the voice cast for their reprise, for God's sake, dub the movie already.
I mean, I want them to dub the freaking Gridman movie, but they won't do that either.
Yeah, I'm too old now to say I want to marry Nanashiko, but yeah, if I was going to marry any anime character, being of some, she's just adorbs. Which is funny, because I usually go for smart girls, but she is just so wholesome.
Hey, wholesome is good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. Not a lot of news this week, which is kind of nice. I don't have to talk about a ton of things. We've been very busy on the news front lately, but sometimes we have more, sometimes we have less.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads us to today's topic. The Level 1 Demon Lord and One Room Hero.
Oh yes, which, for those of you in our age bracket, 30s, 40s, some elements of this show will hit a little too close to home.
Yeah. Adulting is hard, and that may as well be the subtitle of this whole show.
Pretty much. Well, I would subtitle it, Now What? It's like, we won the JRPG, now what?
Yep. So, Max and the band of heroes fought against the Demon Lord and won.
Mm-hmm. As you do.
As you do. And it is now, what is it, like 10 years later, something like that?
Thereabouts, yeah.
I should have looked up a description on the plot. I did more background work on this show than I had to do for any of the show we've ever talked about, by the way. Because while Sentai is beautiful and actually credits their voice actors, I forgot who certain characters were, and I had to rewatch a bit of an episode to figure out who they were. I'm like, oh, okay. And the problem is, it's the antagonist. It's the freaking World Council or whatever it is. It's like,
oh, those
we see them once, and then that's
yeah, they're not well characterized. With one exception, I think I would probably burn them all at the stake. So
I wouldn't go that far for all of them, but some of them I certainly would.
Yeah, they'll make the hairs on my neck stand up, except for the one.
You're talking about the old lady?
The young lady, actually.
The young lady? The old lady's the one who's telling them they're being stupid the whole time.
Miss 8 seems like she's got her head screwed on pretty straight, but
8 is, I disagree with you on that.
Okay, well, I'm going by what I remember from the last episode, but anyway.
Indeed. I mean, I think
the old lady's
fine,
got style, I'll give you that.
Well, the old lady's also the only one that was like, you guys are being idiots the whole time. The entire time.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know why you'd burn her.
She gives me the creeps.
She's...
Just because she's not an idiot doesn't mean she's a nice person.
She wasn't advocating for anything bad, though, so I don't know why you think she's bad.
Anyway, I mean, you know me.
You make up shit in your head and cling to it stubbornly, yes.
Well, that, but I was more thinking of, I'm more inclined to just adopt the Imperial Inquisitor route and just, kill everybody to be safe. At least when I see an organization like this, anyway.
But we'll get into them much later. I kind of wanted to save them for the end, honestly.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm getting things out of order again. Forgive me, folks. Mea culpa.
It's fine. It's what you do. So, the Demon Lord has resurrected 10 years later. Demon Lord voiced by the amazing Brittany Karbowski, Wendy Marvel in Fairy Tail, and our boy Rimuru Tempest in Reslime. Gotta be saying, your boy, gonna be saying that again here in a minute. But God, Brittany's amazing. Absolutely amazing. This is definitely the Rimuru end of the voice acting work for Brittany. Mm-hmm. But it is distinct. It is a distinctly different person. But it's very similar.
As we'll discuss, the voice actually changes when the Demon Lord changes forms, and she does that very well.
She really does. Absolutely. And the character, it's a Demon Lord, but I guess we'll just say she, because the gender appears to be...
It's not so... What's the wording that gender fluid is so much as doesn't have, I think, a gender in that it doesn't seem to care.
The gender is whatever they want, yeah.
Yeah, and so when they fought the Demon Lord, it was this big, giant, muscly, I guess,
monster guy. Thing. Yeah, like a little snake dude.
Yeah, it was pretty metal.
Oh, it totally was.
But I guess the default form is of a three-eyed chibi with horns and elf ears.
Indeed. But the Demon Lord has resurrected. And it meets with their top lieutenant, a lady named Zenia, voiced by Natalie Rial. That's Kana Arima, the child actor prodigy in Oshinoko, and Greya in Ragna Crimson. And
who in this role shows her ability to not just be serious, but to be very, very silly.
Okay. Not my favorite character, but my favorite voiced character, because, oh my god, Natalie just nails this character being absolutely off her rocker, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, she's absolutely serious to a fault and dumb as a post. I swear to God.
Yeah.
This is the woman who I think I gave her my number 2 for biggest dumbass this past season. Only being
yes, because
she only lost to Nor. Okay, that was the only person who could possibly have beaten her. Oh my god, this is the iconic moment for her. I think is where she busts. She literally explodes out of an air vent, screaming espionage and kicking someone in the face.
Yeah.
That is her idea of subtlety.
That whole sequence defines her entirely, because that sequence, she's espionage, and yet when she gets caught, and then the explosion happens, she can't leave the person behind because that's who she is.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, I can see why the Demon Lord keeps her around, but oh my god, she should not be in such a high position.
Heavy loyalty, much care, not much brain.
Yeah.
And I suppose the next one is our main character, Max, voiced by Joe Daniels, Azudra and Helk, and Kongming in your boy Kongming!
And once again, demonstrating a fantastic ability to juggle utter stupidity and absolute seriousness and everything in between seamlessly in a very complex character.
I am very impressed with Joe Daniels' work here in terms of we see him in the past and the present, and the two characters may as well be two separate characters, but they are the same man, just in very different sequences. And Joe Daniels just nails the dichotomy between the two eras of this character, the hopeful youth exuberance and the, well, I'm in my late 30s, early 40s, and life sucks.
Yep. Washed up. So the Demon Lord was beaten. The party of four, we'll meet the other three in a bit. They went their own way. So the story begins, as mentioned, with the Demon Lord resurrecting, albeit at relatively low power, and meeting Xenia, and before bothering to get a report on the situation, decides she, I guess, because it's now in a female-ish form, wants a rematch with the intrepid hero who took her down, and so flies off into the human realm to confront her arch nemesis, and finds him in a shitty Japanese apartment, the stereotypical falling apartments type of thing, with, you would think
studio apartment. A very shitty studio apartment.
Yeah, and looks like you're a nightmare bachelor pad, with the one exception of there's a legitimate magic weapon stuck in the corner. But otherwise, he's just washed up in every sense of the word.
There's a lot of information. He ran into a lot of scandals. People were scamming him, trying to sue him. He got himself a little drunk, had problems with the ladies. He became kind of tabloid material, and it just seemed to have broke him.
Yeah, this is a man who could not survive celebrity without a manager, which, to be fair, is 95% of humanity. And he had nobody but himself, and was just kind of used up and thrown away by society at large.
This is you made a comment early on when we were watching this. This stuck with me this whole time. This is such a parallel to what we do to our war veterans.
Oh yeah, the first couple episodes in particular are basically, if the authors did not know any military veterans, then this is just an interesting coincidence, because I know a number of people. I doubt any of them will ever listen to this, but if so, you know who you are, and I love you guys. This is, when we're done with our military, and because nowadays veterans are much smaller proportion of this, I'm speaking for the United States, the Veterans Administration is full of amazing people who do their absolute best and have no funding, because veterans, as much as many politicians of all stripes like to bang on about veterans in the military and stuff, when it comes to actually voting money, veterans are a very small voting bloc, pretty much evenly distributed across the country. There's not enough political capital in it to be worthwhile funding the VA, or at least that's the opinion that has been conveyed to me by many of my veteran friends. So
I have heard much the same. My brother-in-law's a vet. I love him dearly, and he is not just a vet, he is a disabled vet, and he has had to deal with the VA. It is not fun.
Yeah, and it's not that the people at the VA don't want to help. They do. I've actually worked with, in my capacity as a reenactor, we've done events at the VA, and every single staffer I worked with was a wonderful human being who wanted to give of themselves to help these people. But without money, there's no facilities, and without facilities, there's very little you can do.
So, this is a stark reminder of real world stuff, which I believe makes the story more compelling, because it is very real. And even if they don't personally know someone it's all supposed to work, they've read about it.
Yeah.
Which, that would be my opinion, although, I mean, they may well know somebody. You do, right. I do. Yeah. It's not that surprising you would know somebody.
Yeah, the Japanese self-defense force is in kind of a different place, although that's probably going to change, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, we're not here to get too deep into the weeds.
Right.
We're here to talk about an
But,
anime.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, folks. That's what we do. We tangent.
Yeah. Max is not doing so hot, and the first thing the Demon Lord wants to do is find their old foe, Max. I'm back. I'm gonna kick your ass. And he's like, no, you shouldn't do that, my lord. And Demon Lord's already gone.
Yeah. And she kicks open Max's door, and she's like, "Who the hell are you?"
Shit, what the hell happened?
Well, she doesn't even believe it's him at first.
Yeah.
And then it becomes, all right, I'm going to rehabilitate you so we can have a proper rematch.
Indeed.
And Max is like, go away, and she takes on the sort of I think TV Tropes calls it the magical pixie girl or something like that, with the girl who comes into your life and completely upends it.
Yeah.
Leaning a bit into that trope.
Oh yeah, no. Demon Lord basically cleans up the place, cooks for Max, tries to be kind of a social coach. Definitely does assist Max in fixing some of his shit.
Yep. And we should mention that when she wants to, she takes on a more adult human form in both senses of the word. She doesn't seem to understand human clothing norms, and so wears a schoolgirl outfit.
It's literally the same schoolgirl outfit that they're wearing as a little kid, but they don't change out to a larger size.
Yeah, so she looks like a stripper.
Yep.
And what's great about this show is, instead of in typical anime fashion, everyone just kind of going along with the person dressing like something out of a hentai. Everyone, as she's going down the street, everyone's like, what the fuck? Someone called the cops. There's a hooker working the street. Things like that.
To that point, shortly after Xenia shows up, gets hammer drunk, and gets naked and chases Max through the streets.
Yeah, in Xenia's normal mode of dress, it looks like something out of a fetish manga as well. So
the author is barely disguised fetish.
Well, there's that, and I get the feeling that it's just demon cultural norms are just very different, and they neither realize nor probably care that humans look at things differently, and it makes for funny. But yes, so there's photos of naked demon lady chasing the hero through the streets.
And this catches the attention of one of the other heroes, Fred, who is the director of the magical agency of the Kingdom of Beskar, but former
the party's healer.
He was the party's healer in the war. And Fred is voiced by the favorite voice actor of the Simuldub Saints. I swear to God, I don't mean it like that.
We may as well call him our husband at this point.
Adam Gibbs keeps coming up. It's our buddy Adam Gibbs. Takashi Natsume, which we talked about last week. Seikagano Eminence of the Shadow. The list goes on, and we keep running into you, buddy. And we do love your work. So
yeah, I've got it. At least for the moment, he is the Samuel L. Jackson of the English anime world.
Yeah, no, I'm very. He keeps coming up and it's like, oh hey, and he's always amazing, and he's no less amazing here. In fact, I didn't even realize it was him until I was looking these up, and I'm like, wait, that's Adam Gibbs? When you said
it, I immediately went, oh, duh, because
that's
like,
that's
when
how
you think about it. But
he's
different enough from Takashi and Sid and everybody that, you don't think about it.
No, but he does a damn good job. This character is really interesting. I think out of the main heroes, although I want to punch him the most, he's also the most interesting because of what he's got going on internally.
Yeah, so this is each of the four members of the party has gone a very different path in the post quest. So Fred has gone into government, and he's joined the bureaucracy to try and be a positive force from within. What? I don't get the joke.
Gurren Lagann.
Oh. But yeah, so he's now, like he said, an agency head, kind of like being the equivalent of a director of a federal agency here in the United States. So it's an appointed position, but a very powerful one. And so, on the one hand, he's in a position to exert influence. On the other hand, he has to do what his political masters say. And he's trying to split that difference and not happy about it a lot of the time.
He seems to be doing a lot of, I didn't get that directive. I don't know what you're talking about. I was just standing right here. I actually have a lot of respect for that. He does seem to want to do the right thing, but he's not willing to completely go against orders. He's willing to bend the orders as far as he's willing to go. You want to talk about a lawful stupid? This is your lawful stupid.
There's that, because he's become, for better and worse, a creature of the system. That's the other thing, is the system has its own logic and it captures people. Any system.
Oh, yeah. But they are necessary, though, sadly.
Oh, certainly. Governments are very necessary, and we need good people. And, Fred's not in there by himself. He does have loyal subordinates.
Yes. Rim is Fred's primary assistant, voiced by Kara Greenberg. That's Asta in Helk! And Sanai Furukawa in Clannad, the best mom. And this girl, holy crap, she tied up in the plot. She gets involved in that scene with Xenia. She's the one that gets injured that we mentioned that Xenia helps out. But she's also the one that captures Xenia initially because Xenia's espionage is stupid. She also seems to be the voice of reason to Fred constantly, trying to keep him from over-radicalizing would be the way I'd put it.
There's that, and she's also, I think she's very personally loyal to Fred, and I think I don't know how serious it is, but she's at least to some extent in love with him. And
I would agree
because
with
of
you,
that,
actually.
she's in love with the good man, the hero, the cleric, the holy man, and she doesn't want to see that man die under the weight of institutions. So, which makes her a very good person to have around.
Indeed. What's interesting is all of our characters have people around them. Max has got Demon Lord Xenia. Mm-hmm. Fred's got Rim and Bacta, I believe his name was. And then Leo's got his two co-founders, which I guess we might as well go into Leo. Leo's the big, strong warrior dude of the Heroes Party, voiced by Michael Ronsky. That's Dorsha in Helk, and Moles in the Sentai dub of Vinland Saga. And Leo was sent to the north of the province to help develop an area that was just an absolute disaster. He basically was shuffled to the corner, sent to... Think of it as being sent to Siberia.
Yeah, shades of Record of Wartentia War, if anyone else has read that. And very much in the same vein, they basically said, okay, this is our land now. After they found all sorts of resources and stuff, the central government's like, oh, that's ours all along. And they're like, no.
No, it's not. You sent us the deal that we worked our ass off on it. It's ours. I side with them on that one.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and it's not that they want to, and they're a semi-breakaway region as the plot starts, and they don't really want to be independent. They just want to have all the respect and rights of any other region within the country.
Yeah.
So I see it as that's kind of a West Virginia sort of situation.
And that's more or less how it ends up getting resolved.
Right.
But, they put in the work. It's the sweat of their brow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's their home.
It's their home, and they worked on it. It doesn't belong to somebody else. And I agree with them on that.
Yeah, and so Leo is even more of a musclehead than Max.
Oh yeah, Max is yeah. Think of Max as like your, I'd almost say paladin. Leo is just the warrior.
Yeah, he's the guy who's just muscles have muscles. He usually runs around in as little clothes as he can get away with, because he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't seem to care for wearing clothes, which kind of makes sense when you're that big.
Yeah, clothing will be difficult.
And he is like a human
He's a one-man army.
One-man construction battalion.
One-man construction battalion, one-man army, one-man, just any large group of people. This guy is insane.
Yeah. And very charismatic.
Indeed. And his two co-founder buddies are Joe, voiced by Cameron Numley, Hokuto in Ursa Yatsura, and Satsuki in Ya Boy Kongming. And the other co-founder is Will, voiced by Matthew David Rudd, Wong Dong-soo, or Dong-suk, depending on translation, in Solo Leveling, and Atoro Kaji in Buddy Daddies. That was Papa Ray's teacher.
Nice. So, yeah, and they are...
They don't really do much, but they're there.
Yeah, they have characterization, but...
They do,
they're people. But, yeah, they're mostly there to represent the normies in the Gamma Republic.
Yep. And I probably should have put this next character much earlier. My bad.
Yeah.
But our Max's apartment does have another resident.
Yes. There is a ghost, apparently female, who lives in the closet.
And she is voiced by Alyssa Kular, Gamma in Eminence and Shadow, and Tai Shimura, or Otai, in Gintama the Very Final. Here's my joke to you, Ark. Mm-hmm. Gamma went looking for her master and found him.
Very possibly, yes. I was thinking something along the same lines. But yeah, I want to know more about Closet Ghost.
I mean, she's crushing on Max. She keeps going after Fred.
For whatever reason, she's got the yandere thing, and she can't. She would attack Demon Lord because they're getting close, but she can't because Demon Lord's too powerful. But Max can see her. I'm sorry, not Max. Fred can see her.
The same voice as that's why I'm making this the
same thing, right? But so it's get away from my husbando is the thing, and it's just this weird running joke of whenever Fred goes to have anything to do with Max, she starts messing with him, and he is terrified of her. Fred is, and it's weird, but I want to know who she is, where she came from, what even her name is. It's she's used as a gag character,
she's just and credited as Closet Ghost. That's how she's credited.
Right. It could be potentially a very interesting character, but it's used as a gag bit, which
is fine.
Yeah, but if there's any more to this, I very much want to learn more about her.
Fair enough. Our next major character is Anego, who is voiced by Olivia Swayze. That's Serena Yoshida in The Dangers of My Heart. And Arlene Princess in Helk. That's our girl who was locked up tight. And she's works for Leo. She is what kind of introduces us to the whole Gamma Republic situation, because she tries to recruit Max to join them. And Max does not want to get involved at all. And
very sensibly.
His reason makes total sense. I don't want to hurt either of my friends. And I actually have a lot of respect for that. And to her credit, so does she. She lets that go and moves on. But this does lead us into several of the upcoming events. As an aside, we do have a constant thing with Max going to a playground and getting drunk. And he keeps running into this girl named Sarah, voiced by Channy Moore, who is Nebulum in Ragnar Crimson, and the young version of Aqua in Oshinoko. But what's funny about her is it turns out she's the daughter of the last of our four heroes, Yuria.
Which we don't really find out for sure until the very end, although close to the end I was thinking so.
You caught it early, yeah.
Relatively early, but it was only in the last few episodes that they gave us enough information. So Yuria was their mage, who's very much, I don't need anyone else type of person until she almost got her ass kicked and the three boys by this time of the party are like, look, just come along with us. We need you anyway. And she's like, oh, fine. So she's that sort of person in the party. And so now that we've met all four members of the party, I just want to reiterate what I said earlier and expand on it, where these four members of the party represent four different paths you can take after doing something like this. Max fucked up and washed up. Leo is trying to be a public figure by going against the system. Fred is a public figure working with the system. And Yuria did just completely retired from public life and is a mother of two and counting. We actually see her having her second during the final confrontation.
And just as an aside, Yuria is voiced by Alyssa Merrick.
Oh, right.
It's Ruby Hoshino in Oshinoko, and I cameo in Dangers of My Heart.
Yep. And what's funny is, in retrospect, we should have guessed, because Sarah is very much her mother's daughter. She has an attitude. She fears nothing. But she's willing to give credit where credit's due. She is a funny, funny kid.
She is a very funny kid.
And honestly, a very good influence on Max, because she's willing to call him out for his bullshit, but also likes spending time with him, and legitimately does seem to think he's kind of cool, sort of, I guess.
Yep. Next up on our list is Mizuhara, voiced by Maggie Fleckno. That's Marielle in Log Horizon, and I do not know how to pronounce that character name.
Aculeatus, I believe.
I'll go with that. Aculeatus in Land of the Lustrous. I need to watch that.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's supposed to be really good.
Put it on the list.
It's on High Dive. It's all dubbed. It was dubbed a couple of seasons ago.
Okay, then.
But, Mizuhara is the reporter who keeps pestering Max, and hilariously, she doesn't really do much until the very, very, very end, where she plays a very critical role.
Yeah, and to be clear, she doesn't have anything particular against Max. She's just a hard-charging reporter, and Max just keeps becoming newsworthy.
Well, and that becomes to advantage to save the day in the end. But who do we save the day from, you ask? Because so far, we just have a lot of quirky characters. Well, one particular nasty scumbag and a bunch of other enabling shitheads. Let's put it that way. Our scumbag is a guy named Grims, voiced by Jay Hickman, who is Joichiro Yukihira in Food Wars. That's the dad of our main character, and in Food Wars, I should say. Mm-hmm. And Garm Ulban in Ragnar Crimson. This dude is the one of the 9 cabinet members. He's number 3. He's kind of Fred's, I want to say, handler. He's the one that talks to Fred, asks Fred to do things.
Fred does seem to report to him. Or at the very least, can't say no to him. It's weird. One thing that I don't really get is with this cabinet, and it's probably just done to simplify things. The cabinet ministers are just referred to as first, second, third, etc., rather than minister of this, minister of that, like in a real government.
This show is a lot of fun and has a lot of great characters. It's funny as hell, but if you want to really get down into the details, it's not going to hold up.
Pretty much. Don't think about it. From someone who's really into this sort of thing in real life, don't think about it.
No, because there are other, Grimm's whole thing is that he's trying to profit off a war, which is a thing. War opportunity thing.
Oh, totally.
But we literally never see any of his business partners or any how they're even profiting from this war that could happen. So the whole war situation, of course, is tensions brewing between the kingdom and the Gamma Republic. And these tensions come to a head when Grimm sets off an explosion in a building where Fred is at, and that's being used as pretense to go to war.
Yep, false flag attack is the term.
Yes. Now, we all know this. We don't see it, but it's very obvious it's him. They don't even technically nail him on that, although everyone seems to kind of know it's him.
Yeah.
They nail him on something else, which is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Well, it's realistic. Look what happened to Al Capone would be the most salient example historically. But
Indeed.
yeah, it's when you're known to be a crook and they can't get you for the important things, they'll get you for anything that's legit.
Yeah, this guy is mustache twirling villain, and he works. He's slimy enough, but there's no real details behind him. Like, what does he want with that money? How's he going to get that money? Who is the business partner? We have no idea.
Don't think about it too hard. There's not enough runtime to go into those things, and it's not a me show. It's about the four. It's about the heroes.
It's absolutely about the main four characters. And on that, no detail is spared.
And one other thing about Grimm's before we move on, I just want to say, I think he must go to the same tailor as Seth Rollins of the WWE.
He would totally, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. And if anyone, if you don't watch wrestling, that is not a compliment.
This is going to be about the 4th or 5th time I put Seth Rollins in, visually on this podcast. Now you're welcome. We keep referencing him more.
He's Seth freaking Rollins. I mean,
he is yeah, he is.
He's our Monday Night Messiah.
Oh my god! The fact that you know that was well before you were watching makes me laugh.
Who do you think educated me?
Me.
Yeah. You have only yourself to blame. Behold the monster you have created, Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah. Well, speaking of more people, we have another cabinet member, Reinhardt, the 4th in the cabinet ministers, voiced by Brandon Hirnsberger. That's Mika Rosenhelk. Ooh, that's a hateable character. And speaking of hateable characters, Perv Asshat and Eminence in Shadow.
So yeah, if you need a good villain, cast this guy.
Absolutely.
I'm sure he could do heroes too, but that's what we know him for.
This guy, I don't hate him the way I hate Grimm's, but this guy is shady. You want to talk about
extremely.
You want to talk about someone that I'd be fine with you burning? This guy,
mm-hmm.
Although he is very behind exposing and getting Grimm's outed, which is great, this guy still comes off as really shady.
Well, what do you do when there's when people are asking questions? You pick the weakest member of the pack and you sacrifice them.
Fair enough. Speaking of more shady people that I'd want to get rid of, Hayward, voiced by John Swayze, who's all for one in My Hero Academia, and Raphael Oriana in The Eminence in Shadow. He is 6th of the cabinet members. This guy, this guy bothers me. He doesn't say anything wrong, but there's something about the way this guy carries himself that just screams over entitlement.
Well, maybe it's the monocle and the Regency style wig, or maybe that's his hair. I don't know, but I
don't know.
Yeah, he's very much the character designs out of the
he looks like he belongs in
British. Yeah, the 17 or 1800s aristocrat. Yes, he does look like Fribbs from the Holy Britannian Empire. Yeah, entitled, aristocratic, old money. Blech.
Like, I don't have anything specific that he said that was wrong. But, again, like, you'll notice I didn't say don't burn any of them, because, yeah, a lot of these guys are bad.
Kill the aristos.
Then we mentioned earlier Captain Galmoth, voiced by also John Swayze. He's kind of the main guy running the attack against the Gamma Republic.
Yeah, and he's your typical aggressive military stereotype.
And he's kind of gets what he deserves off of it. And Fred just kind of looks the other way. It's kind of great.
I think Fred just kind of knocks his ass out at one point and then does what he wants.
Pretty much. And now the voice of reason in the cabinet, we have Franca, voiced by also Alyssa Kular.
But that's the same as Closet Ghost. So
yeah, so we've already mentioned her. Franca keeps calling them out on their bullshit constantly, telling them how the war is stupid, how they need to work with Leo. She is like the only one that's like saying all of the things that's like, that makes sense. That makes sense. I get you. That makes sense. She's not hawkish. She's careful and cautious. She's not promoting anything bad from what I can see. She's an old lady, and maybe that's what's setting you. It sounds to me like you're getting set off by her the same way I'm getting set off by Hayward, just the way she looks. But the vibe I got from her was someone who's old, wise, and wants the best outcome. Now, if you told me she'd do bad things to get things done, I believe it. I absolutely believe that, because I get the feeling she would want to basically do what she needs to do to win, as it were.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that in the abstract.
No,
within limits. But.
Within limits, well, that's your problem. Was anything versus within limits. I could see that being a problem for her, but I don't actually think she's a bad actor.
Okay.
And that leads us to the girl that you liked that I have problems with, although I wouldn't burn her.
Yeah, a different sort of dangerous. Someone who, I like the way you summarize her in the document here, true believer. Menehild, voiced by Patricia Duran.
Yeah, Patricia Duran is Yukine Hayakawa in Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. That's the fun mom. And Kana's mother in Oshinoko.
Huh, okay.
So, quite a bit of work there. Quite a bit more, obviously. Than just
and so, this lady is straight as an arrow and apparently not big on critical thinking.
And that's... that's... Yeah. My problem with this lady is she immediately goes, oh, we're on track. Kill them. Kill those bastards. Now, she does, to her credit, when turns out, oopsie doopsie, I gave you wrong information. Fuck you. So, she did not like being misled, and she was not in it for the giggles, but she not...
Yeah, but this is not the sort of person you put in the fucking cabinet. No, this is someone who makes a very good junior or field grade officer, but not general rank or above.
And that's that. So I'm okay with her because she's not a bad person, but she needs work.
She's very much Peter Principle here.
Next up we have Zeman, voiced by Adam Noble. That's the Karu, the thief teacher in I Parry Everything, and Chikaro Enoshita in Haikyuu, which makes Meowth happy if she's listening to this, which she probably isn't, but she might be.
Okay.
Zeman is very quick to go, we need to find a peace agreement. He is like immediately in the episode I was watching to try and figure out who these characters were. Because one of my sources gave me an episode. I went and rewatched episode 8, which is where they first appear. This guy, when things are going bad, the building's been blown up, he's like, we gotta find a peaceful solution.
Yeah, this is the foreign minister stereotype, the diplomat stereotype, where, his mind immediately goes to diplomacy, whereas a lot of these other people seem to have some variety of military background, so they're minds immediately go to the use of force.
Well, you want the man in the use of force, so we got Trigon voiced by Joe Daniels, which that's Max again.
I'd be astonished if he's not ex-military in some capacity.
Oh, I agree. He is the second of the night, I should mention, as he was the fifth. And Menehild is the eighth. Trigon... This dude's prideful. Our kingdom is under attack. Blah, blah, blah. You want us to back down? Okay, guy, calm down. Get some chill, man. You gotta calm down just a wee little bit. Then we've got George, voiced by Kyle Jones. That's Shinsuke Takasugi in Gintama the movie, and Rubero and Helk. Ninth of the cabinet ministers. This guy looks like some sort of a general. You want to talk about?
He's literally wearing a military uniform. It's some variation on Imperial/Nazi German, or maybe Imperial Japanese. It's something like that. It's not really anything in particular, but it's obviously a uniform.
He is very tactically minded. He's a little hawkish, but I will give this man credit where credit is due. This man wants to limit the casualties, not just on their side, but on both sides. I have a lot of respect for this guy.
Yeah, well, we want to conquer this place, not destroy it, and we're going to have to live with these people afterwards. So, yeah, that's just common sense.
I'll tell it to the rest of the people talking on this list. Speaking of characters that I don't like, and this will be our last credited character we're talking about. Seth, voiced by the legendary Monica Rial, who, if you don't know who Monica Rial is, the most known was Bulma in this little thing you may have heard of called Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z Kai specifically and Onward, but
yeah, she's done some work here and there.
Oh, just a wee little bit. I was dumb and didn't put it in the list because I'm just like, yeah, you know who Monica Rial is. But if you do want some things, she's also Froppy in Hero Academia.
Yeah, so this is a chibi slash... It's a boy, right? So slash Shota.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not really explained. It looks, to all intents and purposes, like a child, but it's sinister as fuck.
I don't know if it's sinister.
That's how it comes across to me.
I get childish and impulsive and rude and this strikes me as someone who never grew up.
I think that's all a smoke screen, at least. You know,
you tend to read things into people when there's no evidence.
Keep in mind the level of politics that we're operating at. You don't get there by accident.
You're overthinking the show.
Okay, fair. Good point.
If this was a show that put a lot more work into its politics, I would grant you that option. But
no, fair enough.
I don't know that that's the case. Now, I don't like them anyway. They certainly don't belong here. That's all of our characters, but here's where things really... So, at this point, this show is done being dubbed. We just had the last episode dubbed. Normally we just do, spoilers are normal, but for real, we're about to tell you how this thing ends.
Right.
So... if you haven't yet watched it, you may want to skip ahead.
Or just pause the podcast, go watch it.
We can come back.
It's a good show.
Oh, yeah. No, you definitely...
We'll wait.
The show's definitely worth watching.
Yeah,
and we're not going anywhere.
We're recording. We're not going anywhere. Yeah.
Hey, let's get some tea while they're watching. It'd be fun.
Well, I drink Mountain Dew. But here, let's see. Yeah, let's have some Mountain Dew while they go watch the show.
Sure, why not? Well, alright, either you've been sticking with us or you went and watched the show and came back. So, yeah, things all come to a head as Fred goes to confront Leo. And they have a pretty massive battle. I guess I should mention beforehand...
DBZ worthy. Like, literally, they make a plateau arena for themselves.
Oh, they absolutely do. I should back up a bit. Previous to this, the Demon Lord and Max visited the Gamma Republic because Demon Lord assisted. And
the Gamma Republic made itself into quite the tourist spot. They found magical springs, which, among other things, make really good hot springs, and they've got beachfront and stuff. So they made themselves a sort of an Acapulco, back in the day sort of situation. Yes. And so, let's go on vacation.
Well, this is important, and I should have mentioned this earlier, but I didn't. But this is important because they did run into Leo, and Leo knows that Max was with a demon. Doesn't know it's a demon lord, but knows it's a demon.
Yeah, which is kind of the scandal. So there's the whole... everyone who encounters Max with a demon, whether it's the Demon Lord or Xenia or whoever, is like, what the hell?
Pretty much. And that happens frequently. And we are doing very much top-down. Look, there's a lot more that happens that we're not really getting into. But, I mean, we're not here to really recap the entire show for you. We're just kind of giving you a surface overview. But yeah, those two are fighting. And the Demon Lord keeps telling Max, hey, these are your friends, don't you care? And Max is having a depressive episode, basically, and no, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this.
He doesn't want to take sides.
No, and the thing. And I don't blame him.
Right. And so his solution to that is to stick his fingers in his ears and go la la la, which is a way to deal with that.
It is. Anyway, they're fighting. It's bad. They are really beating the shit out of each other. And Max is just about eventually goes, you know what? I'm gonna kick both of their asses. Gets on his bike, hauls axe right past our reporter friend, Mizuhara, who has got drones up recording the whole thing. That's how he saw it.
Yeah, so she snuck over the border. She and a technical assistant have been hiding in the woods for days to get the scoop, and they've got like a fleet of small camera drones.
But on his way, he also runs into Sarah, who gives him a gift from Yuria. And a little candy. She says, it's only one, though. Max fights, shows up. All three of them get their asses kicked by each other.
Fred and Leo have been beating the absolute crap out of each other by this point, I should mention. They're both almost dead.
It's bad. They're both KO'd at this point. Max
and we realize Fred is a lot stronger and a lot more resilient than he looks.
Yes.
Apparently.
Max had to use that candy, which gave him a magical power-up from that. And he ends up on his hands and knees while being recorded, begging people to find a better way because he doesn't want to lose his friends.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, this is one of the most emotional scenes I've seen this season. And it hits really well.
Yeah, it made me cry.
Made me cry too. Well, you making you cry is more of a statement than me for real, but it's impactful, and I want to give Joe Daniels credit. He nails it. It hits. It just goes right to your heart. Because let's be real here. Who has not been between two friends? It sucks.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that.
It's all very well to, take the back of their hair and smack their heads together, but then what? How do you...
Yeah, how do you resolve this? Well, and the problem is, this is a problem that needs to be resolved on the higher level. Well, this moves the people of the kingdom to basically end this war and find a peaceful resolution, which the council immediately does, and reintegrates the Gamma Republic into the kingdom as its own independent area. With it, it's under the kingdom, but it's independently run.
Yeah, which is all they really wanted.
That's all they wanted. They immediately accept that.
So basically, the cabinet, or at least the Maleficent elements within the cabinet, they lost control of the narrative, and they had to bow to public pressure. Is what happened.
Mm-hmm. And that leads us to our last cabinet meeting in the show, where Grims is outed for embezzlement. You can thank our dumbest friend Xenia, who is not as dumb as she seems, because she found all that and got it mailed off to the council, who believes Fred did it, which is amazing, because Fred's like, I didn't do it.
She seems to have stolen an entire rack of servers from somewhere and is going through the data on them, which is just like, okay. Great. Yeah.
And we end on, after they...
in the middle of doing this, she gets ransomware locked out of her computer by clicking a pop-up.
I mean, Xenia is still an absolute moron. We love you, Xenia, but you're a moron.
Well, I mean, if you know how money works, it's not that... it's, tracing embezzlement is, from what I understand, it's just hard freaking work.
She did it.
Yeah.
And that takes a council member out. And they put Fred in his place, which I think is a good ending for Fred. He's now in a place where he actually has the authority he needs to do the good he wants to do. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. But on the other hand, he's now one of those responsible. And he's one out of 9.
He's going to have to own up to it. Although, pluses and minuses of Fred, I think this is the right place for him.
Yeah, well, I'd rather someone like him in these positions than...
almost
someone
anyone
like
else on
Grimm's,
there.
but yeah, but still, it gets interesting. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean,
if this continues, I'll be very curious to see what happens. But
I know for a fact that this is based on the manga, and from what I've been told, I did pick up a spoiler when I was trying to look up information. There's a pretty major event that did not occur here, so there probably giant asterisk probably is more.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It'll probably depend on how well this season does, whether they make a season 2.
Indeed.
Which makes sense.
I would like to see it. Honestly, I enjoy these characters. This world is fun. These characters are absolutely a blast. This is kind of a middle ground show in terms of depth. It's more than surface level, but it's not super deep. I would like more like this, where it's not overly thought out, but it's not nothing. I think this is a underserved level because you don't have to overthink it, but you can enjoy it. And don't get me wrong, I love my deep stuff, but sometimes it's good to have cake.
Yeah, but from somebody who is steeped in real world geopolitics and stuff, and does like to overthink, as you've just seen in real time, don't.
Yeah, it doesn't really work on the show. Other shows, it does work. And honestly, I think there's value in that, but I think there's value in this too.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like they did a good job with the main characters. The Demon Lord has its own little character arc where, at first you're just like, okay, it just wants to fight. No, there's actual altruism behind this character. And we learned that that's not new either. The Demon Lord told all of their subordinates, do not kill people, because mortals have mortal lives. Killing them is bad. That was during the war. They've always had a little bit of an altruistic side. For whatever reason, there was a war there. I get the feeling if there's more, we're going to get more context as to how that happened.
Yeah, insufficient data, but
but it's a fun character. Max is amazing. I love this man. Max is the definition of courage. He doesn't want to do this shit. He has no desire to do this shit, but he does it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Fred, I actually have a lot of respect for. I don't like him in a lot of levels. But on the other side of it, he's trying really hard to do the right thing. He doesn't know what the right thing is, and finding a way to solve the conundrums. I think he struggles, but I think his heart's in the right place.
Totally.
And Leo, I mean, dude, this guy has a heart. They all have heart. All of them.
Yeah. And this is very much the voice of the people type of guy, which...
Oh, yeah. And you need that. You need people like that. You gotta have a temperament, you gotta have, a match, but all of these characters are great. The voice acting is top-notch. This cast is amazing. I particularly want to shout out, besides Adam Gibbs, Joe Daniels, as Max steals this show.
Yeah.
And honestly, yeah, good show. I don't know what else I can say at this point.
Yeah, I just the best scene of the whole show, I think, came during the final showdown where you see different people reacting, and Yuria is literally in the hospital in labor, and Sarah is sitting beside her, glued to her tablet, watching the live feed, and Yuria is like, can you pay more attention to your mom who's in labor? And Sarah's like, yeah, but this is happening in real time and it's more interesting, Mom. Mama's girl. I can't wait to see who Sarah grows up to be. She's gonna be something.
Indeed. So, yeah, the fact that we're this invested in learning more about these characters tells you so much about this show. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why you watch so much of our podcast, although thank you. But yes, go watch this show. If you did, hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Indeed.
All right, Mark. I think it's time for you to tell us about today's sponsor.
Okay, so this episode of the Simuldub Saints is sponsored by Big Cheese Dentistry. And in this case, the sponsor has asked to do the read himself. So here we go. Here at Big Cheese Dentistry, we offer the full range of dental services at criminally affordable prices. Whether you need a simple dental cleaning or the most painful and invasive dental surgery, you know you need it, or anything in between, you may count on the expertise and discretion of Big Cheese Dentistry. Just remember, there's absolutely nothing going on back there. Nothing. So, in summation, wait, why is there a picture of that cursed lemming on the screen? Ow! I thought it would be safe from the British Dental Association out here in the wretched colonies. Curse you, Arthur Lemming! Curse you!
FBI, open up!
Lemming, Lemming, Lemming of the BDA. Lemming, Lemming, Lemming of the BD, Lemming of the BDA.
What just happened?
We're still getting paid, right?
I hope so, because,
We better be. I'll check. All right. Well,
indeed. I'm not sure if we should continue to endorse this or not, so I'm just going to kind of leave that one alone.
Moving on.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Indeed. I do not want to join the party wagon.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess it's time to find out where the people can find us. So, Ark, outside of Oscar the Raptor's trash can, and hopefully not in an FBI party wagon, where can people find you?
Let's see. Aside from the usual stuff, I've been playing a fair bit of this little indie game called Cosmeteer, which is fun. But other than that, yeah, just the usual. So if you want to get a hold of me, comment on this video, comment on any of the or message any of the Simuldub Saints channels that LK's about to tell you about, or just email LK if you really want.
I get to be your doorman, not on the list. Bouncer, rather. I
Yep.
can talk, I swear.
We appreciate you.
As for me, you can find me on Twitter at LaserKidPrime. You can find me on Blue Sky, no longer allegedly, because I've been using it more often, at LaserKid. You can find me also on the Toonami Faithful podcast quite frequently. Toonami News on Twitter, and also the Toonami Faithful podcast on there as well. I write editorials for them. Got one in the pipe that me and Kuro are cleaning up to get out there pretty soon. A retrospective on IGPX. Look forward to that. Record over there frequently. As for the Simuldub Saints, you can find us on at Simuldub Saints on Twitter, at Simuldub Saints at Blue Sky, and we have a Facebook group you can join if you want. Link is on the YouTube page and on the Spotify podcast page. So if you're on either of those, easy to find. If you're listening on a platform other than that, just check those out and head on over to Facebook if you're so inclined. But I think that about does it for this week's episode of Simuldub Saints. So until next time, catch you later.
確かなフューチャーでも稼ぎのジャンプしていこう揺らぐことだって